to learn different. I had to earn different. Then I had to discern different.
Discern different.
Yeah.
I just took it from yeah. And you know what's the number code for weed? 420, right? So this next beat is actually exactly 4 minutes and 20 seconds. When I hit it, everybody's heart gonna skip a beat. You might even shed a tear.
Okay.
I'm just preparing you.
Okay.
Ready? With me. Everybody take a deep breath in. Let it out.
We on YouTube live.
Pops in the room. I just got the hairs on the back of my neck just stood up. He said, hey now come with me. Hail Mary, won't you run quick, see? I heard the call, my code name Jehuti. I write the words, I started language and literacy. So listen to me, I am a teacher like the KRSONE. The teacher always outlives the king you see. Cause the moral fact is this: if the king gets his head cut off and he won't fucking live, a young king takes the throne. He's really a young puppy still biting on the bone. He's all alone, so here comes the feature. They gotta call in a motherfucking teacher to teach this young kid how to wear the lid and hold it down. Now that lid becomes a golden fucking crown. Now everybody clapping, fanfare, cheering and shit for this little kid that's sitting on the throne and shit. But meanwhile, in the cut, close to the speaker is the motherfucking teacher. Pops in the building, y'all. Pops in the building, y'all.
Okay.
Pops in the building, y'all.
Come with me, one quick see. I remember back then, those times I ain't believe. But then I had to go overseas and get some G's. And I was then flying G5, but I was on some P's. Like, damn. How you depressed when you way up? And how you been down, but you stayed up?
Okay.
And how you don't play around, but they play us? And they turn around and act like they motherfucking made us.
Ooh.
Dangerously up in the cut.
Okay.
And I remember me and my dog was running it up. Until he got jammed down, he jammed up. I'm putting money on books. I'm putting money on hooks. I'm putting money on looks. I'm putting crooks on crooks. I mean, damn, how you put cook on cook? I don't even know about it if you really had to cook in the kitchen. I remember grandma fixing up the dishes. I mean, she was like, damn, you ain't gonna do nothing? And I was like, yeah, one day I know I'm gonna do something.
Okay, we on Facebook, YouTube Live here. All the people in the building. I just want to give a shout out to the people, because we got a lot of people on social media that wanted to hear the whole subject of plant medicine and how does that relate to our people. You know what I mean? Is this something that we should be doing? This is something that we should be bringing to the people. And as two football players in the house here, you know what I mean, to even build on the whole level of how does plant medicine, psychedelics enhance one's physical performance. So there it is. And before we even go in, I want to give a shout out to my homeboy Firewater. And the reason why I say this, right, is because big up to him, because he had me thinking about how we could change our physicality on a whole nother level. So when he took the snake venom, he heard something fall in his room. And his reaction time was 10 times faster than normally. And he said he moved like he was the serpent of the snake, that the spirit of the snake was him, and he was able to move quickly. And he said that his vision beamed in. It went like zoom, 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 zoom into the place of where he heard the sound. So this had me think about some things. It had me think about one, big up to Baba Kalindi, talking about the Super Soldier program. I'll have to turn this around so the family could see his picture. We gotta do this right. You know what I mean? Big up to Baba Kalindi on here. You know what I mean? The Morpheus of our time, great elder. You know what I mean? And he talked about the Super Soldier program, the secret government program that was even mimicked in comic books with Jack Kirby, because a lot of people, that is Stan Lee, who's the brain behind Marvel Comics. No, really Jack Kirby, and who also had like connections to the government on the military on a whole nother level. You know what I mean? It's all good. I gotta screw that in. And then he was talking about that being issued into comic books on the low. Example like Captain America and different things of that nature, right? So we're talking about natural indigenous enhancement. Okay, you gotta do that again. Hold on, we turn it. Hey, yo, that's Yoga Mike if you don't know. So Yoga Mike,
Yo.
we'll start with you, and then we're gonna go into my brother over here, King JMO, and we'll talk about how has your experience been thus far with plant medicine, or your journey in general with your yoga journey and all that, on how these different things have affected your path in teaching, performance, all these different things.
All right, first let's start with like, they say you gotta have artifacts to be a good teacher. Right? Facts
Okay.
Can be displayed, artifacts. So artifact is, the first time somebody called me OG, I didn't know they was talking to me. Let's put it like that.
Okay.
I'm 47 years old.
Okay.
So I'm starting to shift into this. Like when you're young, you thought 40 was old, you thought 50 was old. I'm living that right now, and I feel pretty good. So just on the physical matter, I mean, I got a few bumps, and I've been through a lot of shit. I got a lot of metal in my body, screws, pins, rods, nets from fucking hernias and shit. So I'm like a miniature cyborg. I feel pretty good because early on I started smoking bud. The bud kind of eased tension, but as I started studying yoga and realizing what yoga really does, it works the nervous system. Even at a young age, just taking that, I always tell these people, like, you talking about this other day, when you take that first pull off the joint, you think, yo, this weed's hitting. The weed ain't really technically hitting you yet. It's science. It ain't hit your blood yet. But that breath you took, that that felt good because your nervous system reset. We're talking sympathetic versus parasympathetic science. That's the science of why the plant medicine, the bud, and all that was an introduction to everything.
Right.
The social scene, the weed, mushroom, all that, it brings us into wonderful diatribes like we have right now, where people can sit down and actually shed their armor, shed their shield, shed their sword, put it down by the door. Like I literally come here and disarm. Like as soon as I come to the crib, I literally disarm.
Right. Put the burner right down. Yeah.
It's telling me I don't need none of that in here.
Right.
And it puts you in rooms with people who are like-minded but have traveled and transcended different dimensions to bring different observations. I remember being at UNH, University of New Hampshire, 1994, freshman year, off-campus party. I'm smoking bud in a little kitchen, and fucking George Clinton from the Psychedelics comes in. Like,
say
where
word.
the reefer's at, and I'm like,
say word.
So we sit down, we talk. Word is born. Talk, and the only question I wanted to ask him so many questions, and the weed just told me, ask him how many women he slept with. And I asked him, and he said, "Young blood, I don't even know. It's rock and roll, baby. Funkadelics all day." And I said, "Yo, that was a code to say, fuck the bullshit. I ain't counting. We living."
Right.
So that's what that plant medicine allows you to do: break barriers where you can have discussions like that with people that you never thought you might even cross paths. In a lifetime, who would think a person from my generation, now my pops maybe, but my generation was sitting smoking L with George Clinton, bro. And it's the plant medicine. He came in saying, "Where's the reefer?"
Wow.
Right? So, and then from a metaphysical phase, it just feels like the plant medicines, when we indulge, it allows us to all be on like a similar frequency.
Right.
So as the shit goes up and down, just like when you had a concert or a game, you feel the energy. Remember we used to watch WWE back. The energy's so thick in here, you can cut it with a knife. Like, that's what the plant medicine does on 3 phases. So
Thank you. All right.
How y'all doing?
Introduce yourself,
Stepping
brother.
into the temple by way of Dooley and Chief Nighthawk, man. I appreciate
Big up to Chief Nighthawk. Rest in peace.
I'm
Rise in
King
peace.
JMO, real name Jordan Moore.
Okay.
Don't Google me.
Nah.
Doing this, I gotta definitely give my lady a shot.
Okay.
She really brought me into this at a difficult time in my life, a really dark space. I know a lot of people go through. It was just like my transition phase, like out of the game. Like I wanted out, but I was at the top of my game physically, and like everybody wanted me in.
And what game are you talking about? So
football,
the people that
football,
might not know what you're
football,
talking about.
football.
What team were you on?
I was in Atlanta. I played for the Broncos. I played for Toronto.
Okay.
Played for Hamilton too.
Okay.
So yeah, I've played some ball, man. It's about 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
Played for the USFL Stars, Philly Stars too. So I've been around, man. But I love the game. Graduated from LSU.
Mm-hmm.
Was an Olympic track star. So I pretty much have done it all as far as when it comes to sports. But now I'm in my music transition to being the biggest artist that I could possibly be, not putting no limitations on myself and just changing the world one day at a time.
Mm.
But these psychedelics I've been on for like the past like 2, almost 3 years, and they just been helping me, man. Like just letting go of a lot of anger, a lot of past trauma that I think a lot of us hold on to, and that's what allows us to actually be so great in the game. Is because the trauma just keeps reoccurring. Like
Okay.
we stay in a loop, and if you stay in that loop, it ultimately makes you become successful. But once you need to get out of that loop and break that cycle, it's kind of hard to move on and move towards something new. I've done a lot of these practices with some of my friends on a lower level, but meeting Dooley, man, uh, it's really like changed my whole perspective on everything. And you got to be ready and willing to receive and move on. Um,
Okay. Can you hold that for me, please?
I'll hold that.
Thank you, sir.
Please continue, sir.
Yeah, my boy Yoga holding it. You really just gotta be.
Some wild symbols going on here.
You gotta be ready and willing and able to receive what's coming your way when it comes to this stuff.
Oh, yeah. Sorry about that, y'all.
Technical difficulties.
Thank you.
Yeah, long story short, man, it's been an amazing journey,
Mm-hmm.
and I definitely appreciate him for that. And we went through a few different phases. I guess I'll talk about one was vision wise. Like it's always about discernment as you go to higher levels, and that's what the frog venom and the snake venom does. Like I say, the frog venom actually did a big cleanse for me, actually, like spiritually, and allowed me to like set the stage for me to receive the snake venom,
Mm-hmm.
which I can kind of briefly explain it. Like the snake venom, what it did for me, it kind of like numbed my body, gave me a very very relaxed state and a very state of like zen.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people really really need like no anxiety, no nothing. Like I never really get anxiety, but like you know. As an athlete, I like that adrenaline rush, but really, it's just like everything just smooth is coming to me, and it's like it's an even more of an impact because it's like I'm using less effort and more like energy at the same time. It's not more like physicality when I'm like bringing everything down. So it's like I'm using my spirit and my mind, which is actually stronger than the body. I know I'm getting deep right now, but once you reach a certain level of physicality that you are superior, you like it's like you keep hitting ceilings. Like where else do I go? And that's when you really gotta expand your mind and your spirit. That's the only way your game goes to a supernatural like space where people consider you to be like freakish, like
Right.
alienated in a sense. So
Mm-hmm.
I think this has been a dope experience for me, and I hope I articulated it well for everybody to understand. But it's something that people need.
Now, I had a quick question. Like, even when you was dealing with Chief Nighthawk, and at that time, I believe you said you dealt with the ayahuasca,
Mm-hmm.
and people were noticing that in on your team members and other people that your game was changing, like you was improving, and people were asking you what were you doing because they were seeing a difference on the field. And again, it kind of goes into like I was saying with even fire water, saying that having a different type of vision, a more advanced vision, or some type of I don't know, I'm trying to look for the right word, a more of a level of enhancement of some sort. So can you speak upon that and like, you know what I mean?
You really it's like a turbo chip on a computer. We are all computers and like databases, right? It's just like it's kind of like the Planet of the Apes. When they smell it, it like wakes something up in them, and now they begin to speak, and they
Mm,
begin to speak very very well, and they understand and they articulate exactly what they're supposed to say, right?
okay.
We've been laid dormant as a people, as black people, for a long, long time, and that
Mm,
pineal gland has to wake up with a certain substance too. This is the substance.
mm,
When you wake that up, you get guys like myself. Like I'm not gonna lie, like I used to be I can't even speak like I used to speak anymore because my brain doesn't move on that level of frequency. I can understand, but I can't speak like that anymore. You know what I mean? Because it's like my brain just that level of frequency it doesn't register because like I said, the body is computers and once you download or upgrade certain viruses, certain things, like they aren't able to get into the malware, right? So I feel like this is like an upgrade to the malware. This is like proxy times 10 if people know what I'm talking about. Like this is something that's like the VPN that you can't find, right? If you put this into the body, I feel like it creates a new level for yourself. So like on the field, I'll say this: I became like a computer, like the game, right? I compartmentalized every play, like from every other team that I know I had to play, right? And I knew that like it's all geometrics and shapes and forms, right? If I stand on this part, right, and I turn at 45, but I run at this velocity and then I stop, all I have to do is turn my body to be right back center, right? So now I'm not running like this on the field anymore. Every movement is like 45, stop. 90 degrees, stop. 45, stop. And like once you start playing the game from an angle perspective, everything that you do, like you even run faster because it's just like you like, well if I step up and I step to the side, then now it's gonna throw the angle off of the play. But if I stay linear, boom, 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 and create it like an angle, like everything is gonna need a basis, right? That's why they say stay flat, right? Boom. Everything needs a basis. And if you play like that and you play, see a lot of people if they play and they move back, they gotta take an extra step this way and it's gonna take the plant off going that way, right? And like, and this is like for anybody, right? It's wasted motion. It's just like life. Like if you can sit right there and be like, all right, that's my goal right there. Boom, and you can scan it. And you can take one step, and then you run as fast as you can to that spot. Boom, I don't care where the person's going. They can't come back this way. They gotta go. Everything gotta go that way. So now you actually begin to have real control. And that's how this is with life, right?
Interesting.
You begin to have real control because you understand that life is a game of angles, like impatience. And
ooh, you just said something I gotta build on it. Hold on, King. You just said something that just sparked my. I didn't mean. Continue, please,
life
please.
is geometric, like it's a game of angles. And the base molecule of that is numbers.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
And it's crazy. Like
can I just add on real quick because you said something very significant. There's a book by Tahuti called The Emerald Tablets, and when you read in that book, he talks about angles. And when you go in this particular realm and to be able to get out of the clutches of what we want to call this negative force, he would have to make circular movements and different things to get out of this type of situation. I'm probably misquoting it, whatever, but we're talking about, but definitely when we talk about reality, like Nikola Tesla said 3, 6, and 9. And then there's a whole thing of the Fibonacci sequence and all these things of sacred geometry. And when we was going in with the medicine, all of us talked about seeing sacred geometry patterns before breaking through to other dimensions. So there's something along the lines with what we call this reality in regard to mathematics, sacred geometry, even us talking about even earlier of this being possibly a holographic universe. So please speak upon it, my brother.
Okay, I'll break it down for you. Like,
yeah.
And it came to me like very, very like simple and clear because people like you give them too many words. The brain is very, very simple, right?
Right.
So you got a square and you got a circle.
Okay.
Right. So here goes a square. I draw a line right between the square and I draw a line right between the circle. Right.
Okay.
On the inside, they both are still the same because internally they both still form the same angles. If I put a triangle inside of this, I'm still going to get a 45-degree angle. If I draw another line,
right,
this is still going to form another 45-degree angle. So on the outside, we're all different. On the inside, we're all the same.
What? Stop it. Stop it. Stop that shit. Stop it. Stop it. Yo, you know I'm a fucking Pisces and stuff. What the fuck was that? Listen, man. Okay. Okay, there it is. Now, real quick, I'm going to go because I have to take this other phone call. Someone actually, I have to get to this person. So I don't want to, I can't go that long on this, even though there's a deep build on here. And I want to say one thing real quick. All the other people in here experienced some sacred medicine this past 3 days, and each session was very different. Each session was dealing with some deep release, mind expansive experiences. So I would like to briefly, if people are open, to kind of tell their experience with the Shanga experience they had, if that's okay with folk.
I feel like
Yeah.
we should shift the energy from male to female.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Ladies have been patiently waiting their turn.
All right.
I mean,
I'm about to get out your way. I'm gonna get on this electronic boost.
Right.
Well,
Right.
my name is Devonna. I was working with Chief Nightwalk, and then I met with Julie. We flew out to Boston from Atlanta and continued our journey. I just kept saying, we're on an alchemist journey. We're on an alchemist journey. Like, you're going to continue to meet teachers along the way, you know. And I've been doing psychedelics for about 2 years now, and I feel like at each level, God gives me exactly what I need. And it's different levels, you know. And the last shroom trip that I took, the biggest lessons were like, there's so many different levels, and when it starts to get hard, that's when you're about to break through. And you got to keep that faith. It's like a training program. So you're walking through a hologram to build you up and teach you of higher ways, higher virtues. Like timelessness is ways and virtues of the gods, for example. So God is training us to be gods on earth. And the Changa, the DMT, was the first time I ever did that personally. And it was a bit different from the shrooms in a way that it reminded me of an experience. I recognized something, and I pulled away from the ayahuasca ceremony I did with Chief Nightcall for the first time. And I didn't recognize the downloads at the time because it was so much information that I had to integrate it. But when I did the Changa today, I realized I recognized a message from before that looked familiar, that seemed like it was coming natural to me. Like it was like, it was where we're supposed to be. It's our natural innate nature, and we are nature. When we look in the mirror, we see the moons and the birds chirping and the kids, you know, it's life. And I think that it made the ayahuasca ceremony connect with me a bit more, because the ayahuasca taught me that you're constantly living a cycle of life and death. And I realized I had a fear of death. So it was a resistance. And that cycle of life and death is like the cycles of the solar system, of the trees falling to the ground, of the leaves, and, you know, like giving birth, you know, from as a woman's standpoint. And the meaning, if you study the cycles of women in the world, it teaches you a lot. And giving birth is symbolic of the entire process of human nature. Giving birth is rebirthing, expansion of your experiences in your reality. It is your creation, and you have to, I think the DMT allows you, for me personally, allowed me to understand what it felt like to be oneness, to be in such an elevated state of the crown chakra, to be God. And you are God, and you are the universe, and this is all a ocean. It's all an ocean, and we're a wave in the ocean. We are the artist and the painting. We are the director of our stories and the author. And I just remember walking on my mountain trip, the first awakening, when we were called to the medicine, it came to us. And you know, you attract at the right time. It comes to you at the right time.
That's true.
And we were walking up and down a mountain, and we got to the very top and we got to the very bottom, the polarities. And along that walk, I just remember I didn't know much. I didn't really know God at the time. All I knew was follow the shepherd, and that was my seed. And I just followed the shepherd into the wilderness. And there were so many teachers along the way who were actors. You know, you have there's angels who are acting like the villain and who are acting like the good guy. There's no bad or good. Everybody serves a purpose, whether they're a prostitute, whether they're you know, a beetle, like they all serve a purpose. And the Pharaoh, for example, who pushes the Israelites out of Egypt, he acts like the bad person, but he's not, because God told him to do it. That's what they would move. And you have to keep moving, and life is movement. And when you start to get stagnant, and you start to get down, that's when you're dying because you're getting complacent and you have to keep moving and living the gift of life. So that was my spiel.
Thank you. Thank you so much,
Ashe.
Asheo. Thank you.
Ashe.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're hard. Like you're hard.
My sister, Michelle. Yes. How was your experience, my friend?
Well, so I don't have a lot of experience with the plant. I have experimented with shrooms a few times and I've had profound experiences there, but this is my first time with the snake venom. And what did we do yesterday?
Shunga.
Shunga. That was my first time with Shunga. So I feel like for me, I'm integrating right now. I'm in the process of integration. Things are going off inside of my brain. Like my sight is changing.
Yes.
I'm hypersensitive, like to just everything. Everything. I feel like my pores are opening, and so I'm just in the receivership of it all right now, really. To be honest with you. Just receivership. I had powerful experience yesterday. Everything was feeling so familiar. So familiar. And I felt primal. That makes sense.
Yep.
I felt primal, like this primal energy that's always been there. It's always been there. And it was just like, everything was familiar. It was just very familiar, and it was just powerful.
One thing that you really struck me with your experience was that you said you've seen a vision of these elder women dancing around the fire.
Yes.
And I felt that was very awesome that you shared that with folk. You know what I
It was
mean?
beautiful. These elder women, they were beautiful. They were wearing grass skirts. They didn't have any tops on. Their breasts were out, and it was in the jungle. There was a fire lit, but I can tell and I can feel that there was a ritual going on, and they were just dancing right by the fire, and it was just beautiful, and it felt comfortable. It felt very comfortable. Yes.
Very deep, very deep. All right. Yoga Mike, how was your experience with the medicine yesterday?
That shit was well overdue, bro.
Ah.
This is my brother. When I say this is my brother, Pisces brothers, we brothers. We come from the same neighborhood, grew up in the same era. It's my brother.
Yes.
So he was reaching out to me several times when I was going through some of my darkest times. And the thing I learned when I hit the darkest time I can report is when you depressed and shit, that shit will flip everything. It'll make you think your friends are your enemies. Enemies have you running from your people that want to just hold space, want to feed you, want to make sure you're okay, just ask you how you good. They'll call you and you'll be like, nah. You feel like I gotta explain myself, but what you realize when somebody loves you, ain't no explanation. Depression will make you think that's not true. His brother was coming at me like, yo, Mike, get with me. And I was running. And of course, what happens when you're running, you're not looking, you hit the wall eventually. Hit the wall. Bouncing off the wall now. My brother hits me up. We take care of things logistically and end up in this space. I sit with him yesterday. The playbook was, you gotta take. I had to share the steps.
Yes, please.
So you gotta take 3 pulls. We're gonna go back to back like Salt and Pepper when they rap. The old MCs. I took a pull. He took a pull. We're supposed to go 3 rounds. First round, I counted. Me being a teacher and all that, I counted 20 seconds. Let it out. I felt amazing. I felt like this warmth coming on, a familiarity. That's why I said overdue. I immediately said this is overdue. But then there was like this rigidity because he was using sound elements to keep us grounded, but there was a certain rattle. And it made me feel this uneasiness that I hadn't felt in quite some time. So part of me wanted to be like, yo, step out. By that time, he had finished his first pull and was giving me the second pull. And I pulled that for 19 seconds because that second of apprehension. Because I was feeling, should you step through this realm? Are you ready? You've been down. Are you ready to go back up? So when he went to pull that third one, after that 19 seconds, the world changed immediately. Like the faction of it. The faction of the world changed. Like it was like bright colors were just like, everything was like when you blow smoke out the joint. And the air starts to dance. The air starts to dance. That air was already dancing there. The only thing that, no, answer it.
Oh.
That's the man we looking for.
Oh,
Pardon me.
Pardon yourself. It's okay. We'll come back. We'll come back to it, Mike. Yeah, my brother. Would you love to share with folk your experience last night? Yesterday with Tashunga.
Yeah, mine was very much so. Probably would be the stories of maybe me, men that are melanated and of my color, because I saw a lot of us on there. And when I speak about on there, I mean like on the ship. So it started off, I was on a slave ship in chains, and it was like I saw myself. I was like very, very muscular, like, and I was sweating, but I was always in a space of like I knew I wasn't supposed to be there. My mind was always somewhere else. I had just a gift to put my mind somewhere else because I knew it was rough. I knew it was hard, and like I was one of those slaves that they couldn't break like at all. So they knew that, and it was like one day it was late at night, and out of just nowhere they just got mad. They got mad as hell, and he came down. Just two of them. They was like, "Fuck that!" Like, they threw me over in the middle of the ocean. I was like, "Damn." I'm like, fuck, I ain't never swam before. I'm in the middle, I'm just floating. And I see a whale, a big whale, like just come up. Like he's yellow, it's like eyes, it was blue. It was a blue whale. And then all I knew was just, I shot up. We went to outer space. And we went to go visit some blue people. Their houses and stuff. And I was searching for my brother. I was like, where's my brother? Where's my brother? And like, he ain't make it over here. I started to like cry. I was like, oh snap. I stepped back. I was like, what you mean he ain't make it? I was like, what about my cousin? I had a cousin that just died. Like, yeah, he ain't make it either. They was like, their souls ain't been released from Earth yet. I was like, what? So then I go into a space where I flicker off into a coliseum. And I'm a gladiator, I'm fighting, and I'm going against a lion. And it was just fast, it happened fast. Like, as soon as I got there, I took off running against the lion, and I cut his head off.
There is a receipt on it.
Fast. And then I cut his head off.
You take that. Yeah, you take that off.
Hey, what up, family? Good to see you. We on Facebook, on YouTube Live. Well, no problem, Mama G.
That's all good.
Yeah.
But, yeah, long story short, then I went from the Coliseum to there, then I fast forward, hindsight, I was on a slave plantation, and they were whipping the shit out of me, I ain't gonna lie, they were whooping me so damn bad, I was like, but I wasn't breaking though, I was just looking at them kind of like this, like that's all you got, you know, like, this ain't gonna break me, like, you gotta do something different, like, but you can't take my mind, like, you really just gonna have to kill me, but like, it's like, I just wouldn't die, like, you know. And then, like, it's like I saw the blood run down my back. And when I saw the blood, I, like, went into the blood, right? And then I was in, I entered, like, another, like, cave, like, type deal, right? And it was a table right there, like a marble type table in the middle. And I blinked my eyes, and then the devil appeared. I blinked my eyes again. I saw my grandma, like, floating down, like, with this knife. And, you know, long story short, I cut the head off the devil, but the way I cut it was like a cross though. I cut it this way, and then I cut it like right down the middle. And when I did that, I felt it was coming out my back. Like,
yeah, the rattles was going there. I have to say, right when you're saying that, right, the interesting thing about these sessions and what I've been noticing is that I always check in with the person after the session is done to compare notes to see if there's any correlations, any type of things, connections there. And when JMO told me that he seen a vision of him in slavery, I just started screaming. I'm like, what? Because I seen exactly in my vision in the spirit realm the same thing. So we was in the same place, and I'm literally on everything I love. I'm literally watching him go through this whole type of ordeal, going through this whole thing. And it was like I was watching his DNA change before my very eyes. It was like if somebody had a microscope, a super strong microscope, and you're looking at the person's DNA, I'm literally seeing it change. So we was like in real time on some time travel shit to clear up not maybe these just past lives, but just his bloodline. Because it was at a point, you know, when I'm doing these sessions, sometimes the people's ancestors or their spirit guides move through me. and there'll be certain songs, certain things that come out of me, things I have never sang before. I don't even know myself, you know what I mean? But it was like an African, you know, right. You was right. You know when that happened, it was like this African song was coming out of me, and my hand was going uncontrollable with that particular rattle, and it was like he was going down his back. I don't know why they were telling me to go down his back on that, but that's when he had the experience of dealing with that lower dimensional, that particular devil.
And like slid open like a space in the rock. And the rock was cracked open. When the rock cracked open, it's just angels just flying in. You seen a bunch of demons coming. It was just like angels was taking out so many demons. It was like, damn, like they really got my back. Like, I could really like trust it. Like they really got my back. But on that slave plantation, I'm not even gonna lie. That shit was horrible, bro. Like, I can't even imagine like they really had people living like that. Like mentally, I was just super strong, but like to see like the other men out there and like the shit that was getting done and like just see them. Like I was like you could just see the dudes like deteriorating beside you, like, and it was just like the rust, and I'm just looking down like. I'm like, all right, bro, we can kill them right now, but why the fuck y'all so mentally weak right now, bro? Like, and they like. They hated that. They like.
That's why they seen.
Them, like,
that's why they seen you as a threat. Yeah.
Like yo, weak.
Yeah.
I said, man,
Yo, and I have to say about this brother here, and I seen it on the other side. He walks with. Some of us have certain spirit guides that walk with us, or our oversoul, or our higher self, or certain archetypical energies. This man walks with Ogun. You know what I mean? If people don't know what that is or what that's about, that's dealing with the Yoruba tradition in Ghana, in West Africa, and that's dealing with the archetype of the divine warrior.
So that's what
you know what I mean? Yes, there it is. There it is. So I'm seeing the Ogun energy all around him while we're going through this spirit realm. I see moments where he turns into Ogun. And again, even from the mythologies, because we talked about the hero with 1,000 faces, Joseph Campbell. In the Kemetic tradition, that would be Herokuti. That would be Haru's uncle. You know what I mean? So these archetypical energies, you could see them throughout any different cultures, any different things. They got different names and stuff, but it's the same energy because this is universal truth. You know what I mean? So the reason why they couldn't break him, because that's part of his lineage. Some of us came in here as literally as warriors, so, and even for you to say like jumping into another timeline of being at the Colosseum, that reminds me of some Roman type of shit.
Yeah, that was fun.
You know what I mean?
That was fun.
You take it out lions. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, my brother. Yeah.
That's cool.
And then you time travel to a part into your future, which is interesting.
Dang. It was fire. Like I was on instead of being on a slave ship, I was like on a yacht, like a big 100-foot yacht, like chilling, like
right.
Family kicking it, like it was dope on stage with the music, like really like
right
with the kids in Ghana, like really helping out, like. I saw it. It always happens, They say your past is your future already.
Say it again. Thank you, my brother. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for being open to sit with this medicine, because it's not easy. It's not for the faint of heart. It takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of courage to do this type of work. So when you walked out, Mike, you was talking about your experience, and I wanted you to continue because people are definitely interested.
I didn't just walk out. My man Bo's in the house.
Hey, peace, my brother. Yeah.
So when I walked out, I was saying like how me and Dooley were exchanging the initial peace pipe pass. If you want to say it like that, like our ancestors passed the peace pipe. We smoked blizzards together. It's the tradition of passing something to somebody else.
Right.
So part of me kind of felt like, damn, I fucked up the rotation, bro. Because what I didn't get to was after that second one, I counted that 19 seconds. Remember I said in that second apprehension, let this voice of, maybe you shouldn't do this, creep. I felt it coming to the back of my skull on the right side.
Right.
And then a light came over me like, we need to do this, but we don't need that last one. And I remember touching you on the leg. And the way you received it, your body never jerked, but you just took it like you knew I was going to do it. And you started grabbing the instruments.
Yeah.
grabbing it and started playing the music because you could see. I guess you could see I was melting away. Like
Oh
everybody said,
yeah.
it's a
Okay.
melting
Yeah.
aspect.
Yeah.
And I just kept hearing this faint voice saying, nah, you ain't ready. And then the other voice was like, nah, this is well over. So there's a duality going on. So I opened my eyes. Most people keep their eyes closed, but I opened my eyes because part of me was in panic. I ain't going front because it moves so fucking fast.
You're moving through these
dimensions,
bro. Yes.
It ain't even like he said earlier, he went to the Coliseum and had no time to think in a fight a lion. Like this shit started melting away. And I looked up and saw Dooley in another state. His eyes were rolling, his beard was full. He was changing colors like some psychedelic chromatic shit. Like you were changing mad colors at the same time. The whole room was. And you had this wonderful like dashiki type shirt on with different spaces in between the geometry of the shirt. And your fucking face was pulling up in each of those spaces. And it was all in synchronicity. So I said, all right, this is scary as shit right now. But I can't back out. We're both on the vibe. I know that's where your eyes are. So I looked and Sister Michelle was in the cut just in some powerful poses. And she kept smiling at me to let me know this is, even though it may look chaotic, this is a safe place. You're with safe people. And I kept feeling this battle between my inner self and that voice behind me. Like if I was shaking it off of me. And I kept trying to reset my posture and look right at you. And I kept feeling like I had to wipe some shit off me. Then I finally released and let my eyes close. I gave up. I surrendered. Because I'm trying to keep everything. I'm a teacher, football guy. I love his analogies about the geometry of football. That's why we play so long. Because once you figure it out, it's like, damn, it took me mad long. Part one, sometimes you figure it out earlier. When you're at the top of your game, you feel like I got to squeeze out some more because I finally get it. I understand everything going on in this playing field. I'm the master of this universe. So in those moments, I didn't feel that while I was riding on the Shanga, like, yo. But there was something that took over that remembered all the times I had to master the universe, whether it was on this field, being a dad, being whatever. And I just kind of shook it off. But then it said, wipe that other shit off you. So I kept wiping. And I finally wiped myself clean. And then it was like this strange guilt or shame came on me. And I put my hands like this and I leaned forward to protect my Dante. Not even knowing it. Because what alerted it to me, great care of Dooley. Dooley slowly, very gently, not abruptly or startling way, took my hands and opened up as if I got to go in there and clear some shit out. Then he used this saber, this crystallized sabers right over there.
Selenite sword.
Yo, he started chopping away like he was in the jungle, chopping some chop, clearing the path. And it was right up the center line. In that moment, I felt things that I felt people might have put on me or just things I might even put on myself. Like weights, like, yo, you know how they say we hard on ourselves. So I felt a lot of that lifting up for me. And I was like, yo. And it just ascended from there. It was just dope. But it felt like we had to cut through that muckety muck. And at first I tried to close, almost like I didn't want to subdue you two because you my boy. And we both riding high. And he was like, nah, I got this, bro. And that, and you got no words. It was just the music and the gentle touch. And then you started hacking away. And I was like, word, we got this. And it was like an exchange of, I'm going to clear the path for you, bro. Word, we got this. Everything you need, you already had. It's just your path got jumbled up. Just cut this shit through, keep going. So
thank you, my brother.
Grateful.
And again, when he checked in, when Yoga Mike checked in with his session, it related to everything that was happening on my end. You know what I mean? Because at that moment, there was things that were happening in his personal life that he had to let go. You know what I mean? And he kept on, again, like Mike said, closing off. And anybody that knows about energy work, healing work, they know there's times to when you post to cross your arms and when you don't. When I teach a lot of my Reiki classes, I make an example when you deal with people who are energy vampires. You want to cross your arms because you're blocking your solar plexus, and usually a lot of people that like to be able to siphon off of other people's energy, they usually take advantage of your solar plex area. So there's instinctively that part of us that even the b-boy dance, you know what I mean? So people can see, you know. Even the b-boys dance, that's even a ritual within itself because you're about to go to battle with this other person on the dance floor, but you're not even letting their intimidation come in because you're blocking your solar plex, right? So, but then there's times, you know, and there's times, especially when somebody's I see them like this, they're usually not receiving the wisdom at that point. They're not usually receiving the information and the energy that's needed for them at that point. So that's the same thing even in that example of the healing. There was that moment where I had to be like, nah, my brother, you gotta open up. You know, you're safe, you're okay, you know what I mean? You're in a safe place here and you're gonna be all right. And then the next thing that was very deep was that your daggone brother who passed away came into the room, and
from right over there.
yeah, he was right over. Yeah, see, there you go again. God damn it, man. You see? Yep. Because he came right down. Yeah. Yo, no, you was not tripping. No, I picked it up too. Yep, I seen him. He came right into this dimension. And again, what you know? Again, this is liberating. Why is this liberating? Because they make us think that death is the end. They make you think that there's nothing more after that. This is the same. Okay, I'm getting the goosebumps. Okay, this is the same thing that they showed in the Black Panther movie with the heart-shaped plant. You know, when you seen T'Challa, he was like, hey, this is our tradition. You're going to eat this and you're going to visit your father who passed away. You still have access to them. You know what I mean? So this is what's really showing us. Well, when we deal with some of these medicines, these sacred medicines, they're allowing us to have access to your ancestors. My man right here, JMO, said he seen his grandmother. You know what I mean? So the thing is, and it reminds me of even my good friend who did Iboga, and he was able to see it was his great grandfather. And he told him all this stuff about his family that he did not know about. And when he came back and told his mom and aunt, they was like, how do you know this stuff? You know what I mean? No one told you this? You wasn't even alive when he was around. How do you know this? You know what I mean? So again, we're having access, and that's liberating. That's liberating because most of the time they're controlling most people. Thank you. They're controlling most people through the art of fear. And one of the things they're doing is the fear of death. Oh, if you get out in line, we're going to take you out. Like, and what did this brother just say? He was dealing with that level of that lifetime when he was in slavery. He said, that shit don't fear me. You could try to whip me all you want. That's not going to put any fear in me. I'm beyond this physical vessel. I'm eternal. There is, like Noble Drew Ali said a long time ago, there's no beginning or end. There's no clock to you. You know what I mean? So, so this is very liberating. And I wanted to do this video quickly for the people, man, just to inspire and educate people, bring because there's a lot of us that can benefit from these medicines, especially our people. You know what I mean? That, some people go to the jungle and sit with the shamans out there and stuff, and that's all good. I've seen past lives where I was born in as an indigenous person in the jungle. No lies. But there is something about when two melanated brothers can share the medicine, because I have the same DNA as that man, and I know my cousin just looked just like this man. I even told you my cousin Majid, you know what I mean? But you a bigger version of him. You know what I mean? It's like so again, there's certain people, some people might go to the jungle, but they don't have the genetic experience to go back to Africa, to be able to tap in, to do that work that we did yesterday, to go back into that bloodline of knowing about that slavery and what that was about. You know what I mean? The beautiful thing about my bloodline is I have a lot of different bloodlines in my family, and I can understand why I'm able to tap in to many different type of dimensions. Like my grandma on there, she has a Chinese cousin and all that. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? We got different bloodlines, so when I'm able to channel, and next thing I know, this daggone Native American thing come out of me, or this African thing come out, or some Tibetan type of thing coming out of me, because we're universal. And then my brother said about the blue people, you know what I mean? Them the Octarians. And when he was talking about them, I was like, oh shit, he really went up in the stars and was dealing with the science on that. So I just want to thank y'all again, man. And even on the subject of just even athletes and using sacred medicines for enhancement. You know what I mean? That's a game changer. This we're talking about people that are way ahead of the game. You know what I mean? If the NFL, NBA, any of them niggas need to take notes because listen, you're talking about recovery from injuries, all kinds of things happening, cutting the time on even on healing, even that. You know what I mean? We're talking about even one of
ACL surgery.
Yo.
You can forget the trauma,
Right.
When you like that's real trauma. Like being able to go back to that moment when you tore it.
When you talk about wasted motion, that's where a lot of the wasted motion comes. When you had an injury and you get into the same type. We say even if you in a huddle and there's a certain song that the band is playing, you remember that's the song they played right before.
That you got that flashback.
That makes you freeze up. But what he's saying is through these medicines, you delete that from your program.
Yo, that's dope.
Imagine that's just on the football field.
That's
so imagine
dope.
Stuff we going through in school, stuff we going through as children.
Dope.
We as adults is still carrying from stuff that happened to us when we was children. So we got to be able to go back and eliminate that. Just like when we work with the body and body work. Me, Sister Michelle, we do the body work.
Right.
So when you touch on somebody, you can feel the tension in their tissues. You feel all the way to that origin. We talked about this last night.
Right.
Origin versus insertion. If you can go to the point, pardon me for touching you.
No, it's all good.
Show you, if you go to the point where it connects. Because again, these muscles and tissues are there to make the bones move the way the nervous system tells them to move.
Right.
So where they connect at the bone, you'll find a bunch of gristly, like you feel right here.
Right.
Dehydrated, tough shit. But if I can press on this long enough to make it move out the way, so your blood and energy and other fluids can come through, then that knee ain't gonna hurt anymore.
Science right there.
On the other dimensions, on the psychedelic formation, is happening in your body as well right now.
Science.
Remember the brother on Papa Wu on that Ghostface cut?
Right.
When he was like, and I'm paraphrasing, of course, no disrespect to the Wu, but I just want to make sure I share the knowledge of it. He was like, young blood, if you could open up your body and turn it inside out, you'll fall out and die from all the miracles you see happening in your body right now.
Because we are the universe within. You know what I mean? There it is. And this is real because post-traumatic stress disorder and all that is real. And nobody talks about how that is rampant in the hood. You know what I mean? Just imagine me and JMO said, just imagine if they brought these in as prison reform. You know, they do this in Brazil. I heard one place in Brazil that they were dealing with ayahuasca in Brazil with the prisoners and being able to look at their demons, be able to confront their inner demons and come out as better people, not going right back into the system that want to make money off of you. You know what I mean? So these things, these medicines have they multi-purposed. You know what I mean? We're talking about healing of trauma. We're talking about connecting to your ancestors. We're talking about
the mantra too. Like what we all noticed too, that when the medicine was moving through us, whether it was the venom, whether it was the shunga, we all had this one verbal like thing that we did to confirm to ourselves we were okay.
Okay.
It wasn't like we planned it. Everybody, when we went through some rough stuff, and I don't want to speak for everybody, but I think we kind of spoke on this last night when we ate. It was like, like each of us had that moment where the ride got really crazy, and then something clicked, like a light went on, or a different shape, or you moved to a different area of your experience, and it was just like, like that's the familiarity. It was vocalized or vibrated because we wasn't even opening our mouths. It was going through our throat chakra, like, And we started joking about that movie where the dude was like, so all he did was take that, different remix on it.
Yeah.
It still shows you got to bring that energy from.
Right.
And the Qigong we did today, helped us clear that out too. So shout out to Dooley for running us through some dope Qigong.
Thank you, man.
Get our organs back in order, our bone structure. It was good.
Thank you. So we're gonna cut it off, but thank you all for again stopping through. Thank you all for adding on to the wisdom for the session here. And if there's a way that people could get in contact with y'all that want to maybe take your class, yoga class, different things, how can they get in contact with you, brother?
You ever heard that phrase, I'd rather be a warrior in my garden than a gardener in the war?
Oh, yes.
Right now, I'm in my warrior in the garden thing right now. I teach during the day, so I'm kind of restricted. But what I am doing, I partnered up with my sister Michelle under her brand.
Okay.
And we're looking to do we do some sound and flow work. My brother Bo was instrumental on helping us get some stuff done this summer where we were going into the parks.
Okay.
Outdoors, where I would teach some yoga and she would spin the bowls and do a lot of sound therapy at the same time.
Okay.
So what we're doing is fine tuning that product and bringing it into a place called Long Live Roxbury. So look out for that.
Yo, real quick,
What's up?
can people in the hood do yoga?
We do whatever you
You know, you got some, yo, no, real talk though. Like, yo, some people might say like,
I'm stealing this from some
yeah,
old Def Jam
okay,
shit.
okay.
I think they like when he said white people fall, they're like, oh shit, oh my god, and they fall. So when black people fall, people of color were like, oh shit, you see the poetry in that? We won't fall to get our clothes dirty or mess up our sneakers, so we go into we smooth it out. Whereas people who are breathing in their upper chest and they trip, oh my god. So it's energy. We doing yoga every day just to get through, just to get by, just to turn nothing into something. So yeah, people in the hood could do yoga. We invented that shit.
So yoga is not just about poses and stuff like that.
That's 1/8. So if you went to a fancy restaurant, I don't even know what fancy. JMO, what's a fancy restaurant, bro? I don't know what fancy restaurant.
Depends on the city.
Atlanta, where's the fancy restaurant?
You got, I guess Noble would be considered maybe a fancy one. You got St. Regis. You got, where else? You got, Capitol Grill used to be dope, but you got other places like the Burgess. You got a few different spots.
So all these spots he named, they're pretty expensive. So would you go in there and you pay for an 8-course meal and they only give you 1 course and be like, all right, get out of here? What you gonna say?
Hell to the no, nigga.
Hell to the no. So when people start talking about that, just that the formations, right, and the fucking postures, that's 1/8, and that's actually not. That's the 3rd step. So you foregoing the first 2 steps we talked about last night over dinner. But we'll get into that in another video.
Thank you.
Yeah, the postures is just a small. So a lot of people think they can't do yoga because I can't get into those crazy postures and my leg don't bend like that. The whole notion of yoga is like those statues sitting on your altar, which is beautiful and amazing. You can show that. To sit still and figure some shit out. But we're in a society where sitting still is looked at as being lazy or looked at as, you don't give a fuck. Sometimes you gotta do that. You gotta be lazy and not give a fuck. But sitting still is the key. So even if you come to a class and you cannot do the postures, she plays the most wonderful melodic tones and frequencies, from wooden instruments to sound bowls to bells and things that ding-a-ling-a-ling. And she's about to start doing the flute because she said she's inspired by Andre 3000.
Oh, big up to him on his new album. Big up to the brother. You know what I mean?
Bring all that to the classes, man. So even if you can't stretch or say you're not flexible, sit down and listen to what she's laying down.
Now, my sister, you do something called comedic yoga. Are you telling me that people did yoga in Africa?
They did.
Are you
They
serious?
still do.
They still do.
Yeah, I love how I have to word these questions and say,
Yes, it's on the walls. It's in the books, like in the text. It's evident. It's there. It's all over.
Okay. And you said you stepped on your foot in Kemet, because you wanted to see it firsthand.
I did.
How was that experience? How did that make you feel?
It was a confirmation for me. I knew it was real. And when I got there, I felt like I was home. And I just knew that this comedic yoga is real. This is where we need to acknowledge that it originated here. We need to acknowledge it.
It did.
Yeah, bro.
We need to acknowledge it. Because when we think of yoga, we tend to associate.
He said, Dooley said, you talking about language, Bobo.
Hold on, my brother. Hold on. You're telling me that Kung Fu martial arts started in Africa?
If you go into ancient Asian texts, they tell you that the first monk or Buddhist traveled up from Africa. And you know, if you look at depictions of all of Asia, most Asians were dark skinned. Africans moved from the South Africa, went up into Asia at that time of Pangea and was there at that time.
Okay.
So if you read even in the Hindu and the Bhagavad Gita how they do travel,
Bhagavad Gita come up again. We've been talking about this shit all
they, you'll know that all that originated.
Dope.
Nothing is nothing. I mean, but all text and all writing and everything, philosophies, and that's the whole reason for their, white people's, jealousy of us now. We were so glorified of what we made and created. We spread so much gold and knowledge that,
freedom.
Mansa Musa, especially gold. He was giving that joint out like it was
I
nothing.
mean, but if you pay attention to all texts, you listen to what every philosopher, all the great thinkers or speakers or great prophecy guys at that time, they tell you where they went and learned from. They went to Babylon to learn. So therefore,
Wow.
that teaching was somebody else. They just choose not to tell you about it.
Okay. Okay.
So,
Thank
you.
you.
Know, he wasn't the master at first. He had to use a pupil first before he got
Okay.
master. So everybody got to remember that. So.
Thank you for that, man. All right. Appreciate all the wisdom that has occurred in this. Again, thank y'all again. And thank you for all y'all watching. We appreciate your wisdom and peace and blessings to y'all. Okay. Okay. One love. Yep. There you go. Okay. Thank y'all, man.